the new CTP liquid ingredients listing form tutorial.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Higginbotham, and I am here today to introduce you to a huge time-saving method of submitting your e-liquid ingredients listings to the Center for Tobacco Products. If you are a newly deemed tobacco manufacturer, like me, then you are probably already familiar with the burden of registration and paperwork that has been thrust upon the vaping industry. First, there was bottling compliance and GCCs, there was product registration, label associations, health document claims. The last hurdle we face before the PMTA process is reporting the ingredients that we use to make our electronic nicotine delivery systems products, or ENDS. The FDA has announced that they are granting the industry a 6-month extension for this. Large-scale manufacturers, if you are over $5 million in sales a year and have over 150 employees, are now due to have this completed by May 8, 2018. Small-scale manufacturers now have until November 8, 2018. But this does not mean you should wait. This is a very labor-intensive process, and you should get started on it immediately. If you are someone who is facing these tasks, I highly, highly, highly urge you to join the Facebook group called Vape Independent Help Group, FDA Registration and Ingredient Submissions. You can find them at www.facebook.com/groups/FDA registration, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. This is an invaluable group of wonderful people, wonderful, knowledgeable people that are there to help and support each other and get everybody that they can through this process. Okay, we are there. Everybody just helps everybody out, and it's a wonderful place to be. So it's also the best place to go if we have new revisions of this form come out. That is definitely going to be the best place to go to get the newest version of this form that we're about to go over. Before we start this tutorial, however, I want to urge all of you, if you have not already gotten CTP portal access, you need to do that. Okay, this form will be useless to you if you don't have CTP portal access. CTP portal access. You can find instructions on how to do that and the forms that you'll need to do that in that same Facebook group. It's a very, very, very valuable resource. So what we've done is we have taken the required information that CTP needs, and we have incorporated it into a similar design of the label variation index. And if you've already done this and you're very familiar with this form, okay, this form has the label image at the top, and then it has a table of every product that's associated with it. So what we've done is we've created a form that is similar to this layout, but instead of an image, we're going to put a recipe, a master recipe here, and then incorporate a table that shows every product that is associated with the recipe. Allow me to demonstrate. So the first thing I want to do is to introduce you to my desktop, which in turn will cause me to introduce you to my dogs. This is Pepper, this is Fizzgig, and this is Miha. But the first thing you're going to want to do is to make sure that you've downloaded this document from either the Facebook group. We are also distributing this to several advocacy groups, VTA, AVA, like it's around. It's going to be around. It's going to be very available. So go ahead and open this up. You're probably going to want to make it big. You're going to want to enable editing, and you're going to want to enable content. Okay. Let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Now, what we've done here is this is sort of your cover sheet. All right, it's got instructions on it, and it's got items on it. A lot of stuff has already been filled in by default. Only change these default values if they apply to you in some situation. For the most part, though, this spreadsheet is going to be best used for e-liquid, and it's going to be best used if you're calculating your ingredients by percentage, or rather, as this field shows, percentage of volume by volume. So the only things that you'll need to change on here, most likely, is if you're co-packing, you're going to want to change this to a yes. I'm going to leave it no for right now. You're going to want to change your company name. And then you're going to want to put in the product name or the flavor. Okay. We're going to create a fictional flavor that I do not sell. All right. Now, these down here are, like I said, we've set these as a default. I wouldn't change them unless you're specifically doing something like, for example, you've got options here to do milliliter, milligram, gram, percent of volume by volume, percent of weight by weight, and percent of weight by volume. I think percent of volume by volume is what everybody's going to be using for the most part. This over here is basically instructions on letting you know. Now, there are a lot of drop-down menus and formulas throughout this sheet that automate this process for you. However, that particular format cannot be uploaded to eSubmitter. You must save this document down to a lower or a previous XLS format in order to be compatible with eSubmitter. And when you do that, all of the drop-down features are going to disappear. So once you've completed this, you need to come back here, save it as an XLS. These are the instructions. Choose Save As and then choose Excel 1997 to 2003 as your format. And there'll be errors that you can just continue through, and then it will have a format that is acceptable for eSubmitter. We've also included this macro button here that once you've done that and you're ready to move on to your next recipe, you can just hit clear and it's going to clear out all the fields that you're going to need to change anyway for your next recipe. So once you've made sure that everything on this front cover sheet is the way you want it, you're going to move on to master recipe. Now this page, a little bit more complicated. We've got the upper portion and the lower portion. Okay, upper here we have fixed quantity ingredients. Okay, this is what you're going to put up here is you're going to put anything that does not change from bottle to bottle, regardless of, say, nicotine levels or PG/VG ratios. Okay, so basically your recipe. All right, nothing but your recipe. If you do use something like distilled water or citric acid, we would prefer you, actually they would prefer you to list it both here and below, because you need to make sure that that extra substance that you're using, if it's distilled water, citric acid, whatever it is it calculated as part of your recipe. But since it is a single chemical substance, it needs to be listed down below, and I'll get to that in a minute. So this is going to be your recipe, the thing that does not change regardless of your PG/VG ratio and regardless of your nicotine content of your bottle. Now, is it a single chemical substance or a complex ingredient? That most likely is almost always going to be a complex ingredient, unless you're using something like, I said, distilled water, citric acid, something that has like is a single chemical compound, all right? So we're going to say complex ingredient. Now here you have an option. We have put 6 major flavor manufacturers in here, and we have created a database that will automatically pull their information when you select them. All right. So I'm going to choose Flavor West. Now once I've chosen Flavor West, you see this little NA popped up over here. That's because it doesn't know what flavor yet. Okay, so I'm going to come here. And now you've got Flavor West's flavor library. All right. Now I'm going to look for blood orange. And I don't see it. Oh no, what do I do? Well, here's the thing. Now we tried to clean this up as much as possible, but some of them still snuck through. If you don't find a flavor that you are looking for in the normal alphabetical order, try looking under N or A, because the word natural and the word artificial may have gotten snuck in the beginning. So I'm going to scroll down to N, and there it is, natural blood orange flavor. And once I select that, you see that this field has now populated with the SKU number. We have collected a huge amount of data from, like I said, 6 different major players. We've gotten all this stuff programmed in here, so you don't even have to do any of that research. If we get more information and we have to add it to the database, we will be updating and putting out new revisions of this sheet in the future. Now the next column is your singular quantity, ingredient singular quantity. This means it needs to be based off percent. The percentage is really the best way to go with this thing. You could convert stuff over to milligrams or grams or milliliters, but it's just going to cause you a lot more headache in the long run. Percentage is the way to go, because regardless if you use weight or volume when you measure out your e-liquids, the percentage is never going to change. All right. So I'm going to use the total percent of my entire bottle for blood orange for this recipe is 2.7%. You'll see now that this number down here has become 2.7% because it's adding up. It's going to add up everything you put here. This column is designed for ingredients that you may have custom made for you. If you do, then you need to enter each ingredient by ingredient number and separate each entry using a semicolon. But you need to put all those ingredients on this line. If this was custom made for me by Flavor West, I would need to break down exactly what's in that flavor. And the additional comments was just something that the FDA wanted. So most likely, most of you out there are never going to use these 2 columns, so don't even worry about them. So I'm going to put in another ingredient, and this time I'm going to use, say, Loran's. And I'm going to use cranberry. Now I don't see it in here. Oh, there it is, cranberry. And you see it pre-populated with the SKU number. And I'm going to make that 4.5%. I'm going to pick complex ingredient. I'm going to say Capella's. And now I'm going to go find grapefruit. And I'm going to put in 3%. Complex ingredient. The Flavor Apprentice. For those of you out there that may call them the Perfumer's Apprentice, it's the same company. The Flavor Apprentice and the Perfumer's Apprentice are the same company. So don't be concerned that you don't see TPA in the list. And for here, I'm going to choose Pomegranate Deluxe. Okay. Now this last ingredient I'm going to put in is not listed. It is a complex ingredient, but it's not listed in the big 6 here. I've got a flavor from a company called Delosi. All right. So I'm going to hit Other, and then I'm just going to, actually I'm not going to hit Other. I'm going to blank it out. I'm going to type in Delosi. All right. Now this is going to negate the formula that's in this column over here. All right. It can't pull the SKU number because we don't have that programmed in. All right. So if you've got flavors that are from other companies that aren't listed in here, then you're going to want to do some research. All right. You're going to have to type the stuff in manually, and you're going to have to find their SKU number. Okay. According to their website, this is their SKU number. All right. All right. So now we've got a total of 20% of flavoring. Now I'm going to come down here. And these are the variable quantity ingredients down here. These are the ones that are going to change depending on the bottle. All right. This is where we're going to start associating several products to this one master recipe up here. All right. We've pre-populated this because it's just going to save you guys some time. All right. If you don't or do, if there's something in here that you don't need, you can take it out. It's not a big deal. But we've gone ahead and given you this information so that you already have it. So we've got vegetable glycerin, which is a single chemical substance. The manufacturer, let's say, is that, and they call it glycerin. The CAS number, this is the same no matter where you go. It doesn't matter who you're purchasing your VG from, the CAS number is always going to be the same. And this is always going to be the unique scientific name, is one of these three items here. Okay, so we just listed all three of them so that we're covering our bases. Again, these two columns are the same as above. If it's custom made to your specifications, then by all means, please do put in the information that they want by separating each ingredient with a semicolon. But everything down here is generally going to be a single chemical substance. Okay, so we've got bulk apothecary. They call it propylene glycol. Did I spell that right? I did not. And then we have nicotine. So we're going to put in the manufacturer name, Nic Select Pure Liquid Nicotine. And again, these are, it doesn't matter where you get your nicotine, okay? This is the CAS registry number for that chemical. And this is the unique scientific name for it. Now, I don't use distilled water. Some of you do, and that's fine. So we do already have it in here by default. And if you do add it, we want to make sure that you've got the proper information to add it. Okay, here's the CAS registry number and the scientific name. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this out of here because it's not, doesn't apply to my recipe. However, this form will already have it in there, so if you want to use it, you can. And now you're done. You're done with your master recipe. So now it's time to go to the third tab, the associated products table. This is where you're going to list every product that you sell that uses that master recipe. And there's a few things that we've done in here to help you calculate up what the percentages and the ratios that are involved. All right. We have already pre-populated this field with the name that you put in on the very first tab. This go here just like this. It pulls it right here from this cell. All right. Your TP numbers are yours. If you've got a way to import these guys in, by all means do it. You probably already have this information in your furls, in the stuff that you've done for furls. So you might have a better way to import this in. I'm using fake numbers right now, so I'm just going to put in a TP number. My TP numbers are probably sequential, so let's just do that. All right. Now my SKU numbers are also, it's an internal thing. However your SKU numbers are and however you want to import them in, that's great. All right. It's going to involve some work, and that's why I said you should not wait. All right. You should get started on this right away. So I'm just putting in some sequential SKU numbers here. Now, as far as the size and your nicotine and your VG, PG-VG ratios, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate now how you would fill this in. Say you have 4 different sizes and you sell 4 different levels of nicotine, okay? So we're going to look at this and we're going to say, all right, I sell a 15 milliliter bottle and I sell it in 4 different strengths of nicotine, okay? Now, the strengths that I sell it in are 0, 3, 6, and 12. Now, I did put a notation here because this is something that not everybody realizes, and you must understand this for this to work properly. If you're using 100 milligram nicotine liquid to mix your juices, 100 milligram nicotine is only 10% by volume. Okay, pure nicotine is 1,000 milligrams per milliliter. The stuff you're using, if it says it's 100 milligram, it's been diluted by 10%. All right. That means if you're selling a bottle that says 3 milligrams on it, it is only 0.3% by volume. This is very important. Okay. If you put 3% on here, you're basically saying that you're selling a 30 milligram bottle. Okay. Don't make that mistake. But as we said, we're going to do 0. Now you have to type in the 0 before you type in the decimal point. I don't know, it's an Excel thing. So we're going to do 0.3, 0.6, and 1.2. Okay, so that's our 0, 3, 6, and 12. Now you see that this column pre-populated. All right, what it's doing right now is it's taking this number 20, which it actually pulled this number from your master recipe right here. Boom. All right, so it pulled that number over. It's adding what's in this column, and subtracting it from 100. All right, and that's what your check digit is over here. This is going to turn red if it doesn't equal 100. You don't have to use the automated PG calculator part of it. We just put that in there for convenience. If you want to enter it in yourself, or if you've got maybe some a spreadsheet that you've already got that calculated up in and you just want to copy paste, that's fine. You do it your way, okay? But right now it's assuming that there's no VG included. All right. But let's say I use a 30-70 blend, 30 PG, 70 VG. So I'm going to type in my VG here, and oh, look at that. Look at that. It changed it down to 10. Okay, so now this is telling me that this 15 ml bottle uses no nicotine, 10% PG, 70% VG, and 20% of additive ingredients for a total of 100. Now, if you were to put in a number that, say, was not possible, okay, say 85. I'm going to do 85% VG. Well, look at that. It turned red because that's not possible. You can't have 20% of additive ingredients and 85% VG. Okay, that's going into the negative now. Okay, so it's going to turn red and it's going to say, whoa, 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 that doesn't work. So this is just letting you know that that's not possible. All right, so if I've got 70 and I put 70 all the way down, I'm getting it calculated up now. It's showing me I've got 10% PG, 9.7%, 9.4, and 8.8% in these bottles here. Now, if I want to do that over and over again for, say, each size, so I've got 30, and I've got 60, and I've got 120. Those are my 4 bottle sizes. But my nicotine levels don't change. So I can just take all these and I can copy them down that way. All right, so now I've got 0, 3, 6, and 12 in all 4 sizes that I sell. And the 70 stays the same. So that doesn't change. And there you go. You've just now associated not 19, how many here? You've just now associated 16 products with that master recipe. Now let's say you sell more than one PG-VG ratio. You sell a 30-70, but you also sell a max VG. I'm going to show you how to do that too. All right. So we know your bottle sizes are going to stay the same, right? So let's copy those. Put them down here. Oh, look at that. We don't have enough SKUs. Okay. So we're going to, there we go. Now we've got our TP numbers and our SKUs in there. All right. And we know our nicotine levels are stayed the same, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this and we're going to copy it down here. All right. Now, like I said, we're doing max VG. If we're doing max VG, that means there is no extra PG in these formulas. All right. So we need all these numbers right here to say 0. How do we do that? Watch this. Highlight your PG levels right now. Copy them. Then come to your VG column, right click and do paste values. It's going to take that number and it's going to put them right in there, and boom, all your PG numbers are now 0. And all it's showing in this here is that you've got nicotine, VG, and flavoring in this bottle, and you've just now associated another 16 products with that master recipe. So you want to do it again. Take your bottle sizes, nicotine, all right, And like I said, how you want to import your TP numbers and your SKU numbers, that is on you. It could be if you've got them in sequential order, great. I'm sure that you've already got this organized with your referral submissions. But now I'm going to put, I also sell, say, a 50-50 blend. Okay, same bottle sizes, same nicotine levels, but now it's in 50. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enter, boom. Now I've just associated another 16 products. So now I've got, what is 16 times 3? 48. I've now got 48 products now associated with this master recipe. And that's it, guys. That's all there is. The hardest part of this is going to be making sure that you get all of your information entered on this last table properly. All right, making sure that your TP numbers, your SKU numbers match up to the information on each row. But other than that, you're done. You can associate 100, 1,000, 3,000. You can associate as many products as you need to go with this one recipe. And when you're done, you say, okay, I'm done now. I've associated all my products, all my bottle sizes, all my nicotine levels, all my PG/VG ratios are all done. I'm ready to save this. All right. So you want to come back here. All right. And you need to do a save as. You can save this. I mean, if you want to save over this is fine. You can always go find a fresh one, re-download it somewhere else if you mess something up or you accidentally deleted something. All right. You need to do a save as. And when you do that, you're going to want to save this as the recipe name. All right. However, I think spaces are okay. I usually put underscores instead of spaces. I think, though, spaces are acceptable. Don't use any weird characters. I think eSubmitter has problems with apostrophes, parentheses, punctuation, any kind of weird characters. Probably want to stay away from those. I would stick to just straight text, spaces in text, or no spaces in text. However you feel comfortable doing it, just make sure that it's saved as your recipe name. And then you want to select Excel 97 2003 workbook. Okay, now what's going to happen now is you're going to get a bunch of errors. And these errors are going to tell you that you're losing all kinds of functionality. That's okay. All right, so hit save. You say, oh, no, loss of functionality. That's okay. Hit continue. All these error, blah, 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 blah. That's okay. So now you have saved an XLS. All right, the newest version of Excel, and this will work in OpenOffice as well. All right, we have fixed it so that OpenOffice is compatible, but you got to make sure you save it down as an XLS so that it will be compatible with eSubmitter. So if I go in on my desktop and I open this up, oh, that is it. All right, you're going to see, this is making a liar out of me. These drop-down menus are still in here. All the drop-down menus should go away. All right, they should go away. Maybe I have to close out Excel and reopen it, but your data that you've entered in here won't go away. Okay, so all these cells now will become hard data, and all of the connections to the database will probably disappear. However, you've completed it now, so it's done. You don't need the drop-down menus anymore, and you can move on to your next recipe now. You've already saved it. It's good. You know it's right. You're ready to start on your next recipe. So what happens is you can hit this button here and watch what happens. Ah! Okay. So it's a jumpy thing here. You're not sure exactly what happened. I'm going to show you what happened. It cleared out this form, this cell right here, which is your product name. It cleared out all of your information here, the single chemical substance or complex ingredient, manufacturer name, the flavor. Now it didn't clear this out. Why didn't it clear this out? That's because we typed that in. We typed over the formula that was in there. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the cell above it and you want to copy it down. Okay, that's going to make sure that that cell is now associated with all of the SKUs that are built into this database. Okay, but all of your percentages are now gone. It didn't touch anything down here. We're pretty much assuming that wherever you buy your glycerin and your propylene glycol and your nicotine, it's probably going to be the same from flavor to flavor. So we didn't clear anything out down here. This is going to stay. But it did clear out all your TP numbers, all your SKUs, all your sizes, and all of your nicotine, PG, and VG ratios. You don't have to use the clear button if you don't want to. Now that I think about it, it actually might be kind of a pain in the butt because your sizes, your nicotine, your PG and VG ratios are actually going to probably stay the same. If you know how to work macros, feel free to go in and edit the macro and only clear out the first two columns of that actually. And then you can just associate TP numbers with them, unless you've got another way that you want to import all the data at once. None of this is set in stone. I am sure that there's going to be, people are going to run into situations that this doesn't work for them and they need maybe a modification made to it. I am open to suggestions and I am open to anything that we can do to make this easier on you guys. I hope that this has helped. I hope that you find this an easy and streamlined way to handle what is an incredible amount of work. We've done a lot of research for you. We have done a lot of programming for you to make this as easy as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this helps you out in the future and gives you more time to spend with your families over the next year.